Wharton. Bertie, is this a true test for Nigel Benn? Is Henry Wharton the #1 contender?
Is wearing white trunks and fighting out of York in the north of England. His weight, 11 stone, 13.5 pounds, or 167.5 pounds. His unblemished record includes 18 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the former British Commonwealth Super Middleweight Champion and current WBC #1 ranked Super Middleweight contender, introducing the undefeated challenger, Henry Sweetbread Wharton. And his opponent across the ring, on my right, the defending champion, fighting out of the blue corner. He is wearing black trunks with white lettering, and he hails from Beckingham, Kent, by way of Ilford. He weighed in at an even 12 stone, or 168 pounds. His tremendous record includes 37 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 32 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former WBO middleweight champion and current defending WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world, tonight making his 5th defense of his title. Please welcome the hard-hitting champion known as the Dirt Destroyer, Nigel Benn. Once again, he is the referee in charge. Now to give instructions, Tony Pettis.
I just gave you instructions in the dressing room. 2 things you must remember. Obey my commands, and most important, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands and come out boxing.
Well, if you don't get charged up after those introductions, we'd have to check your pulse. The ingredients of a war between Nigel Benn and Henry Wharton.
A ticking time bomb. It's like walking through a minefield. It's whichever one of these guys steps on a mine first. And here we go.
Many smell upset in the air. Not only because of Wharton's potential, but the fact that Benn has been burning the candle at both ends, serving as a DJ at a local nightclub. Wharton the challenger wearing the white, Benn the champion wearing the black. Here we go, round 1 scheduled for 12.
Benn has come out to put an end to this early. I mean, Wharton has not thrown the first punch, and Benn has thrown a half a dozen good hard punches.
Mickey Duff, the manager-promoter of the challenger Henry Wharton, is so confident he has gone out and bet $15,000 on his man.
Well, that's part of Mickey's psyche. You know, he's not above betting money to tell his fighter how much confidence he has, and also he's an extremely shrewd bettor. Mickey has gone to the bank many more times a winner than a loser, so he's got upset on his mind, as well he should. He's got a chance, but he's got a tough guy in Michael Benn.
Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer, with his brawling win at any cost style, beating 25 out of his first 26 opponents, 20 of them before the end of the 2nd round.
And Nigel is not holding back anything. He's punching as hard as he can with every punch. There's nothing soft here.
Meanwhile, Wharton possesses a ferocious left hook. That's his trademark punch. Mickey Duff feels that Wharton has a big chance for a knockout because Benn has been fighting bent over, almost in a crouch of late. He'll bob and weave coming in, so Wharton should be punching to the body and uppercutting.
Yeah, but he's crossed him up because I don't see any bobbing and weaving here. He's standing straight up. Well, maybe he will revert to that later on. Wharton is just watching right now. He's not doing the fighting. He's not doing the aggressive. A lot of head bumping there. A lot of head bumping.
Wharton undefeated, 18-0-1 with 13 knockouts. No problem taking a punch for him up to this point. No problem with cuts as well. A very confident young man.
He's going to be tested today because so far they have bumped heads Major League style.
Right hand.
Look at that head. Look at those heads. These guys better have football helmets on the way they're going. Nigel Benn was back to the ropes, almost inviting him to come in. setting that trap, but Wharton didn't fall for it. Wharton looked like he was awfully tempted to go in there slugging, and boy, the look on Nigel Benn's face said, come on. Look what I got for you here on the ropes.
Less than 30 seconds in the opening round. Like Benn, Wharton, very popular here in England, won the Commonwealth title in only his 11th fight with a vicious toe-to-toe decision over Australia's former champion, Rod Carr.
A lot of feinting going on, and Wharton not taking any of the feints, but he's also not doing anything. So this round is pretty well all the champions, Nigel Benn.
So round one goes into the books as we go in on Nigel Benn's corner.
Nigel Benn did exactly what he wanted to do. He intimidated Wharton. He came in and made Wharton fight a cautious fight.
There's no audio because of the rules. Yeah, they don't allow it. They don't allow it. In Great Britain. Here we go. Round two scheduled for 12. Henry Wharton, the challenger in the white. Nigel Benn, the WBC super middleweight champion in the black.
Wharton better get started, or this guy's going to walk right through him. The champion is going to walk right through him. Nigel Benn so far has been a one-way walk. He's just punching hard, and this guy is just watching him. He better get something off.
Benn streetwise, big puncher, complete brawler.
If this guy's waiting for Benn to wear out, he's got a long walk, but this guy can do it for 12 rounds. First good punch he threw, and he gets a big applause.
You hear the crowd reaction. I would say it's about split.
Well, anything that Wharton does gets a cheer, whereas Nigel Benn has been punching away and getting very little applause.
You can't have more two contrasting personalities. The bad boy image of Nigel Benn, the reluctant hero, Henry Wharton. Again, Benn flicking the jab, now going to the midsection. Tony Perez, his 84th world title fight, including 5 Muhammad Ali fights, the third man. Good right hand by Benn. That landed.
Fight continues to be all Nigel Benn. He's leading, he's orchestrating, he's doing the dancing.
Benn off the controversial split decision draw with arch rival Chris Eubank.
Well, just the opposite of what we saw with the last fight. The challenger has come out very meek and cautious. In the last fight, the challenger, Steve Little, came out and surprised almost immediately. And now it's the opposite. This guy's not doing anything, and he's letting the champion dictate the action. It almost seems as if Wharton is frozen. I hate to use that word, but he's sure not throwing anything. That was the first good right hand he threw, and it missed by a mile.
Certainly not seizing the moment.
No, I bet Mickey Duff has $15,000 worth of words to tell him when he comes back to the corner. He better start fighting.
Less than 30 seconds remaining in round two.
A clubbing blow that didn't land. It wouldn't have done any good had it landed.
The fans trying to encourage Henry Wharton.
Well, the idea is you got the championship in your hands. You got to go get it. You can't just let this guy deliver it to you. You got to go get it. We saw that in the last fight when Steve Little went and got the title, and we're not seeing it here with Wharton, who seems to be shot.
And that is the end of round two. And speaking of the last fight, we have sitting between us right now the man who upset Michael Nunn and just prevailed and won the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. In fact, he's already got the belt around his stomach, and it is, of course, Steve Little. Congratulations, Steve. on a tremendous effort.
Thank you very much.
We only have a minute here, so I want to get your reaction. That first knockdown, you told me you were going to go out there and get this guy. You got him right at the beginning. Was it surprise you?
I was shocked. I couldn't believe a Michael Nunn would allow me to get inside his defense and allow me to attack.
You also said you quit dancing. You were going to get flat-footed and go right inside his attack. You did that too.
Followed the game plan. Stuck right to the game plan, Ferdy, and went out and wanted to win.
I must tell you, we had picked we had picked the champion by 1 point, but we said here in England, anything goes because of the different styles of fighting, but most people at ringside saw you winning the championship.
Well, I was the aggressor. I threw more punches, and people pay to see fights, not running.
Well, they pay to see this because Nigel Benn is looking like he's got Wharton on the chopping blocks.
Last quick question, will you continue to sell cars?
I'd like to go back. I made a promise 3 years before I was laid off from Fred Savage to a Brad Strunk that I'd come back and outsell him for one whole day, as many cars as I could. I hope I can keep that promise.
Well, you can sell for a whole month with that belt. Just put the belt on. You can sell Jeeps and any used Jeeps from World War II if you want to. And back to the action here. It's picking up in steam.
Round 3 are thanks to Steve Little, the upset winner by split decision over Michael Nunn earlier tonight. Meanwhile, Nigel Benn going back to work against Henry Wharton.
Steve, why would you think that Wharton is so cautious here? He hadn't done anything for 2 rounds. What is he thinking?
I think he has a lot of respect for Benn's power.
Does respect mean fear?
Not exactly, Ferdy. He's just a lot of caution. I wouldn't call him fear. The man wouldn't be in the ring.
Good point.
Henry Wharton, a man who had a gun put to his head down in Florida not too long ago. He was mugged after training, so I would say that's fear.
You don't kid around in Miami.
Well, he survived that. He's trying to survive this and overcome this onslaught by Nigel Benn halfway through the third.
Nice right hand by Wharton. Maybe the first one we've seen land, but he just threw it kind of tentative, not with everything he had on it. They're depending on his punching power. They're depending on him getting Nigel Benn in trouble. But you know what? He's got to land something much harder than that to get Nigel Benn in any kind of difficulty.
We're still waiting to see that fabled left hook of the challenger Henry Wharton they talk about so much here in England. We want to say goodbye to Steve Little, and again, congratulations, and hang on to that belt. Good to see you. Meanwhile, round 3 moves on here. Benn going to the body of Wharton. Wharton missing. Good bobbing and weaving here by Nigel Benn, coming in with the crowd. Wharton opening up.
Finally, he's in the fight. Finally, he's smelling blood.
Now Benn spins him around to the ropes, and Perez steps in.
Once you're outside the ropes, all fighting has to stop, and his whole upper body was out. That's the first good fighting we've seen Wharton do. Now it looks like he's got his temper up. Looks like he wants to come into the fight and fight.
Wild chopping miss by Wharton. And that is it for round 3. We are set to go back to the New York studios, and Bruce Beck.
Thank you, Steve. And Bobby Chez, is Wharton showing Benn too much respect?
Well, he's given away the first 3 rounds, but he's starting to make a little bit of a move here, starting to get in the fight, start to throw some good punches. He has a tremendous puncher in front of him. Even though he's a big puncher himself, he has no experience in championship fights, no championship rounds under his belt. So he may be playing it safe. Again, the old Benn had a reputation of tiring. Maybe he's waiting for him to tire before he unloads some of his big bombs. But it might be just a little too much respect.
Does Benn have to be a bit cautious here because of the punching power of Wharton?
I think he's always got to pay attention to that puncher. Never count him out.
All right, let's go back to Steve and Ferdy ringside. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Bruce and Bobby, here at Earl's Court in London, England. We've already seen one upset tonight, and thus far, Nigel Benn has had his way against the challenger Henry Wharton. And Bobby, once again, correct back in New York, because this is Wharton's first world title shot. He is a former British Commonwealth champion, but he has never been in this atmosphere.
And both Bobby and I agree that the champion, Nigel Benn, has won all 3 of the first rounds. Wharton better do some of that fighting he did at the end of that round, but he better do it at the beginning of the round, not wait to the end. They're going to fight right through Tony Perez. He's going to warn him. Tony will not take any of that kind of nonsense. He's been too many fights. He's too good a referee to allow that to happen.
And Nigel Benn once again pouring in.
And his title, the Dark Destroyer, is certainly apt. Well, he is in here to destroy. He is in here to fight, and he is not in here to play around.
Especially seeing what happened in the earlier fight, he doesn't want to throw it to the judges. He is looking to put this man away.
Here is where the old quarterman chant, you first, has got to come in here. They got to be screaming that in Wharton's ear when he goes into the corner. Don't wait. See, look at him waiting. What are you, painting a picture? Don't wait. Let it go. You first. Make him react.
Meanwhile, Benn showing terrific quickness.
Benn gets on those ropes and he just looks like he's setting a trap, like saying, here I am, come get me. See how easy it is? And once you come in, he nails you with a counterpunch.
Benn involved in perhaps the greatest fight in British history as he sends Wharton back.
Double jab set him back, and those were stiff jabs, and that's a hard right hand following. That's evil intention. He is intending to knock out this young kid.
Combination by Wharton as he retaliates. Wharton was inviting Benn in.
Wharton's showing a willingness to stand in front of the cannon, but he doesn't know what to do except take the shot. Not a way to win a title. Wharton is immobile. He doesn't move around. He doesn't give him angles. He doesn't try to find a way in. He stands in front of him and waits for a written invitation. He is not going to get in with any good shots like that.
Wharton simply with no target. Less than a minute to go in round 4.
I believe Wharton is showing the lack of championship caliber, as Bobby pointed out. He hasn't had any, and he has had a series of fights where he won rather easily. There are no angles showing, no real boxing knowledge showing here. A lot of heart to stand there and take these punches, but heart doesn't win you a title if you can't punch.
Nigel Benn, 37-2-1 with 32 knockouts. His 5th title defense. And continues to have his way here with Wharton. Final seconds, round 4. And a frustrated Henry Wharton will go back to his corner. Part of the crowd here at Earl's Court in London, England, as we focus in on Nigel Benn, as we mentioned before, involved in the greatest fight in British history, as Benn faced the flamboyant Chris Eubank.
In this replay, I'm sure we will see the relentlessness of this jab. 1, 2. A little later on, he followed that with a right hand. That's a perfect jab. That's, by the way, an excellent picture showing you the effect of that. Now, Wharton didn't just take that laying down. He comes back, just not enough. I mean, he's smothered. He just doesn't work hard enough. You should push him off with a barrage of punches, and he doesn't. It's the referee that pushes him off.
As they continue to work on Henry Wharton, Terry O'Neill, who is like a father to Henry Wharton in that corner.
And Mickey Duff leans in and gives one last word of advice. The 15,000 is coming out of your purse if you lose.
Round 5, scheduled for 12. Oh, what an uppercut by Benn. Looking to finish Wharton off here in the 5th round.
6.
Getting a little ugly. Benn again.
I'll say one thing. Wharton can certainly take a punch because he has been hammered with wonderful shots by the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn.
Again, a chopping right hand by Henry Wharton doing no damage.
And there's a distinct absence of uppercuts here, which is what Mickey said this guy was going to do, Wharton was going to do. The uppercuts have come from Nigel Benn, who's been throwing punches from all angles and in every variety you can think of. Hooks, jabs, uppercuts, everything, because he is a champion with vast experience. Here went an uppercut right there, a little inside uppercut. Good, experienced fighters. They'll let you go without giving you something to remind you of when you're on the way out in those clinches.
And we heard earlier that Benn was leaning more. Wharton looking to straighten him up with uppercuts, but so far, not the case. Again, the uppercut attempt by Henry Wharton, but that time, or by Nigel Benn, and Henry Wharton able to slide.
You know, Wharton keeps punching down when the champion is down, and you can't get anybody punching down. It's the opposite. You have to punch up when somebody's down. And he keeps having these overhand rights while Nigel Benn is bent over. He can't do anything with that. I'm sure his corner is telling him that, but he's not performing.
This is certainly not the way Henry Wharton envisioned it, as Benn comes in again with a vicious combination, but glancing blows, fortunately, for the challenger.
Another double jab. I think what Nigel Benn is doing is exposing the lack of experience and technique on the part of Henry Wharton. He's just not the same caliber fighter.
Benn goes down. A right hand putting Benn down.
No.
And it's not going to be a knockdown. We were waiting for Tony Perez.
No, he just said knocked down. He just
it is a knockdown.
But I didn't see any punch that knocked him down. Not the push down. We'll have to wait and see that.
So a little confusion here. Let's take another look.
Tremendous uppercut right there that almost took off Wharton's head. And here's the end of the round. Let's look closely and see what caused that. Now that's a right hand. I mean a left hook right there that got right on the button. And that didn't land. Neither did that. And that's a push on the back of the head. But you know what? Nigel Benn was in trouble from that hook, and he did go down afterwards from a light tap on the back of the head. But it is a knockdown. I don't care what they call it. 10-8 for Wharton, and he needs it.
Round 6. So just before the bell, it is officially in the books as a knockdown for the challenger, Henry Wharton.
And it's a good thing that Nigel Benn had 4 rounds in the kip there, because he just lost 2. He just lost a big lead, and now the fight is within reach again, and Wharton is inspired.
A confident Henry Wharton landing punches to the head of Nigel Benn, and now socking away at the midsection of Benn, chopping down with the right hand.
Well, Wharton has taken command. That little knockdown inspired him, and he is back in command.
And he's got the crowd going wild. Are we looking at the second upset in as many fights here tonight?
Well, the potential is there, but you never know. He was in trouble, right? That excellent replay showed you that he got clocked by a left hook.
And there was a good right hand by Nigel Benn that slipped in.
We know Wharton's got power in his punches. Back comes Nigel Benn.
So now it's starting to develop into that war we had advertised.
Well, up to this point, Nigel Benn had no reason to fear Wharton. He hadn't thrown anything, but now he knows he can go down from a punch. Lost 2 points there, and the lead, all of a sudden so big, vanished.
Nigel Benn knocked down at 2:55 of the 5th round. We're now at the back end of round 6. Right hand by Henry Wharton.
Wharton getting a lot of clear shots now and making them pay.
Again, Wharton to the head of Nigel Benn. this crowd.
Why, he threw that like he was throwing from left field to home plate. Wow, what a punch that was. But those seldom land.
Less than 30 seconds in the 6th round. And a turnaround.
What a difference in Wharton that little knockdown made. It gave him all the energy, and his corner did the rest. Told him, you go out there and get this guy. You see you can take him.
This is a totally different demeanor by the challenger, Henry Wharton.
And also a little bit more respect on the part of Nigel Benn.
Good shot by Benn at the bell. And Wharton answers back, but after the bell. That's 2 wild finishes to the last 2 rounds, rounds 6 and 5. And suddenly, Purdy, we have a different Henry Wharton out there.
Well, it's what we expected. We expected a war, except Wharton didn't show till the 4th round. Once he got him knocked down, and he said, I can do this, and he got back to the corner and said, see, son, you can do this, just punch. It was a completely different round. It's Wharton attacked, and the other guy, Nigel Benn, has too much respect for him now. They're not going at it, so this is the fight we expected. Who will take command? Who will put in that punch to change it? Listen, this is showtime. Anything can happen on showtime.
Well, we saw it earlier when Steve Little upset Michael Nunn to capture the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. And now, here in the WBC Super Middleweight Championship, Wharton turning things around on Nigel Benn. What will happen in round 7? We go past the halfway point in the bout.
And this fight is getting even. I have it bent ahead, 57 to 56. But Henry Wharton has come on the last 2 rounds in a big, big knockdown at the end of that round, a 10-8 round. Wharton just slipped in the corner because of all the water attending these fighters.
Big overhand right by Benn that missed. And you can see the confidence of Henry Wharton develop here over the last round and change.
And all of a sudden,
here comes Benn right back. Benn seeming to say, all right, I've had enough of this stuff.
all of the headbutting that attended the first 2 rounds is sort of quieted down. It's a miracle. Both guys came out without a cut.
2 tough bruisers. Wharton building a reputation as a fearsome puncher with the excellent left hook.
And now Wharton has assumed the role of the hunter. He's the one that's pushing back the champion, Nigel Benn. He's the one that's coming forward. He even had a good jab going there at the beginning of this round, although he's apparently forgotten about it for now.
And even a while back, many felt that Henry Wharton would have as good a chance as any to beat Nigel Benn if their paths ever crossed, and what a fight it would be. And it is turning to be just that, a great one.
Well, this may again turn out to be an endurance contest at the end. Both men putting a lot of punishment on each other, a lot, inflicting great body harm. And I believe whoever's in the best shape at the end of this fight is going to have a tremendous advantage of finishing big.
The singing and chanting here at Earl's Court in London, England. Oh, there goes the mouthpiece of Wharton. Off that right hand by Benn. It just went flying clear across the ring out of his mouth. And now he kicks it into his corner. He'll clean it up and throw it back into the mouth.
I hope they clean it up. That was a soccer kick all the way into the net. See, Mickey keeps talking to him all during his time. Mickey Duff keeps giving him instructions all during his time. He doesn't let anything by. Mickey doesn't. He's a great corner man also.
So round 7 continues.
And still up for grabs.
Good left uppercut to the midsection by Wharton, and that got the attention of Nigel Benn as he backed up. Now a nice right hand by Wharton.
Wharton fighting so much better than those first 3 rounds. In fact, they didn't fight at all those first 3 rounds, so anything was better, but he really feels like he's in command.
At the start, Wharton seemed to be stuck in mud and has all of a sudden come alive.
I think he was very cold and frozen, as they say, meaning that you just can't get yourself started. You can't realize you're in this fight. You get hit real hard, you begin to realize you're here. Whoa. Perfect.
Nice job by Benn to hold up at the bell. Henry Wharton's first shot at a world title. Nigel Benn's 5th defense of the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. Terry O'Neill, Mickey Duff and company in the corner of Henry Wharton, who is revered, almost godlike, here in England.
Let's take a look at this replay. The action on the ropes is now heating up because Wharton's not afraid to go in. The mouthpiece came flying from a sort of punch on the sliding along the top of the head of Norton. It wasn't big, and it wasn't enough to throw it out. He must have just had his mouth open. In the corner, we can't hear again by regulations. We cannot have a microphone there, and we can't even lip read because it's Mickey Duff, and I don't understand him when I'm looking at him.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Here at Earl's Court in London, England, looks like a good crowd on hand. This cavernous arena seats about 10,000 as we go into round 8, scheduled for 12. Nigel Benn put down at 2:55 of the 5th round by the challenger, Henry Wharton. And Tony Perez trying to break him up.
Tony would be lucky if he doesn't get clocked one of those, because, boy, both of them are just throwing everything they got while the referee's in there trying to stop it.
It was a controversial knockdown. Tony Perez, no stranger to controversy. He repped the famous Ali Wepner fight in Cleveland when Ali went down, claimed he was stepped on by the Bayonne leader Chuck Wepner, even to this day.
He didn't claim. We had huge photographs of a big black foot, which was Wepner stepping on the white shoes of Ali, and it went to court.
And Tony Perez was right in the middle of that one.
Yes, it was a long, long episode.
All right, back to the action here, round 8. Nigel Benn looking for the opening. Side to side, a lot of head movement. Meanwhile, the shot! The mouthpiece goes flying out of the mouth of Henry Wharton, but Wharton stands in front of him.
And that was the trap we said. He's been laying on the ropes. We've been saying it. They're laying on the ropes. He's laying out. Look at the time he's going to get now. Look at the time he's going to get because he let his mouthpiece out. There's something wrong with the rules that gives the guy that advantage.
Wharton gets the mouthpiece back.
And a huge advantage to get his senses back together.
Yep.
But boy, was that a big point builder for Nigel Benn, who needed something like this to build his confidence and shake the confidence of the young Wharton.
But again, Wharton displaying a rock-solid chin. That was a ferocious shot.
And great legs, because without those great legs, it doesn't work.
They say he fought like a pro when he was 13 years old, Henry Wharton. He's hanging tough against the champion Nigel Benn, taking some huge shots to the face. Now Benn going to the midsection.
You know, it's so evident when you watch the way Nigel fights on the ropes. He just knows you're coming in and the right hand's going to come singing. He kept laying it, nothing kept happening. When he finally let it go, it was just flush and beautiful. That slapping, punching means nothing whatsoever by Wharton. Just frustration on his part.
Nigel Benn has only lost twice to Chris Eubank. 9th round TKO and Michael Watson. But then the split decision draw in the rematch with Chris Eubank. Will there be a Benn Eubank 3? Well, we'll have to clear this hurdle first against Wharton.
And he's not clearing it by far right now.
Less than 30 seconds in the round. Back comes Wharton with toying lefts. Nigel Benn almost toying.
There's the trap again. There's that, come on.
Almost like Azuma Nelson.
And this time, Wharton says, no, I did that last time, and you hit me hard.
Right. The bell for round 8. Nigel Benn trying to lure the challenger in. Appreciative crowd. They love their boxing, as we said at the outset, here in London, England.
Let's take a look at the way he set this trap. Look at this. Come on. Whoop, there goes the right hand. And had his knees and his legs not been in such great shape, he would have gone down as it was. Let's just watch. Watch his right hand. Just watch. Whoop. And there goes the mouthpiece. It's a good thing it went. And if that punch had landed, it would have been all over. But the rules is very strange because you need a mouthpiece or else your teeth aren't going to get all busted up. But in the meantime, it gives you all that time. It gives you 15, 20 seconds. That's a lifetime to get back.
Well, referee Tony Perez certainly aiding the cause of this man by giving him all that time to get ready to resume. And here we go into round 9. Wharton stunned at the 1-minute mark of round 8, but still in his career as a pro has never been knocked down. It was the second time he lost his mouthpiece in this fight, though.
And we cannot, let's justify it, we cannot blame Tony Perez. It's the rules. He's got to do that. And Tony ran across the ring trying to get the time to go as fast as possible. So you can't blame Tony Perez about that. He's just enforcing the rules.
Right hand missing by Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn in exquisite condition, doing a lot of movement in this fight and has not let up in that area.
He looked like he was doing aerobics, and I never saw so much motion with a punch not flying in either direction. That's exhausting. He must be in great shape.
And listen to the vocal support here for both sides. Right hand by Benn again, picking his moment, but that time it was picked off by Wharton. The Wharton crowd.
He must throw more than 1 or 2 punches. He's got to keep coming in combinations, and he doesn't. He throws and stays back to admire his work. He can't do that. He's going to get clocked.
And we are still awaiting the trademark punch of Wharton, the left hook.
Or the uppercut he bragged so much about to us. He didn't, but Mickey in his corner did. Oh, nice right hand. Nice right hand by Nigel Benn.
Oh, what a right hand again by Nigel Benn. That snapped the head back of Wharton. Holding and hitting now. The head movement continues by the champion. So frustrating for Wharton.
And he's apparently tireless because he does this the entire round. It's not just like he does it for a little while and quits. In the meantime, there's no motion from Wharton. I mean, he's standing up there like a barber pole.
Henry Wharton straight in front. There's the jab effective by Nigel Benn. Right hand, a grazing blow. A left hook by Benn. That tagged him right flush on the face.
But look at the sideways. I haven't seen that since Archie Moore and Kenny Norton. I haven't seen that cross-arm kind of crab-like approach where you give him the side.
So that is it for the round, and right now let's go back to the studio and Bruce Beck in New York.
Steve, Wharton has lost his mouthpiece twice, but he's yet to go down. And what about his chin, Bobby Ches?
Well, he's shown that he has a good chin, but he can't seem to handle the fact that the moves off which Nigel Benn are working, the punches are come flying in, and he just can't get out of the way.
Let's take a look at the second time he lost the mouthpiece, Bobby, and this was in the 6th and then the 7th rounds. Take a look back.
Again, you see Benn's on the ropes, giving him the movement. He kind of mesmerizes him, and boom, right hand, right dead in the face. There goes the mouthpiece. It's out, and they have to stop action and put it back in. But every time Benn's working and moving, Wharton comes to a dead stop.
So it was actually in the 7th and 8th rounds, and both times it was the right hand by Benn. Let's go back to Earl's Court.
Bruce and Bobby here at Earl's Court in London, England. We are set now for round number 10 for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. Nigel Benn having his way for the most part in this fight. Benn did get knocked down at 2:55 of round 5. A questionable knockdown. Wharton seemed to gain in confidence the next 2 rounds, but now it's Benn once again. I think Nigel Benn is simply fighting a beautiful fight.
Yeah, he is. He's lost that real steam of the first 2 or 3 rounds. Content to sit here and outbox this kid, and right now he is doing just that. He's outboxing him, outpunching him, inflicting the heavier blows, and winning these rounds, we think.
Who knows after the last fight, right? Combination by Wharton. He hasn't thrown too many. One of those punches did land. A body shot. Now Benn goes right back to work. Left hand covered up, though, by the challenger.
Well, Wharton needs another one of these big rounds where he lands a stunning punch, because right now the confidence is right back into the champion. Benn, he's fighting his fight. He fights what he wants. He's satisfied with what he's doing. He'd like a knockout, but if he doesn't come, he feels like he's winning his rounds. I'm sure the corner is happy with him.
Good left hand by Benn, and Benn pouring it on now, but now here's Wharton trying to answer back. Chopping right hand by Wharton.
But that's street fighting, and none of that's hurting. That's street fighting.
And that's Benn's game. Benn says, sure, bring it on. I can fight in the streets. Nigel Benn looking to set Wharton up for the finish.
Oh.
And a big left. That was almost it.
Big hook by Benn.
Wharton has never been knocked down. He has almost gone down on a couple of occasions tonight.
Well, the way he's fighting, he's inviting temptation, because he is, as the cliche has it, throwing caution to the wind. Nice right hand.
Another big right hand. Ferocious by Nigel Benn. But Wharton continues to stand right in front of him. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the 10th round.
There's no lack of fight in Wharton. He just doesn't know how to get his artillery over there. And Benn does.
But Wharton showing his ferocity in maintaining against the champion Nigel Benn. The champion Nigel Benn on the left of your screen, the challenger Henry Wharton with Mickey Duff on the right of your screen. They're working feverishly over there in the corner of Wharton.
And now Mickey's really giving him that championship advice, son. You got to go out there and get this. You can't just throw punches. Make them land and go after them in combination. Very calm in Nigel Benn's corner, very calm. And I think that's because they sense that he's ahead. Wharton standing, as you see, right in front, throwing these punches. See that kind of punch over the top? A wasted amateur punch. In the meantime, he's trying to land the punches that'll get him points, but somehow the champion Nigel Benn always ends up with the better of the exchange as he comes back and lands solid shots. And I think they may be doing damage.
And the chance of Henry here at Earl's Court in London. The Yorkshireman comes out against the champion from Kent, England, Nigel Benn. Here we go into the championship rounds, number 11.
Wharton has stood his ground. He's fought. He's done as good as he can. And I certainly admire his guts and tenacity, but I think he's being more technique, more experience. Oh, very sloppy. Very sloppy. That shows an amateur move and tiredness and frustration on the part of Wharton.
Work to the head by Nigel Benn. Swelling under the right eye of Henry Wharton. And understandably so.
Yeah, it would be almost impossible to fight this. Look at.
And Nigel Benn just sits on the second rope and says, what is this guy trying to pull?
And says to the referee, what are you waiting for?
But Wharton goes right back in, again, hearing it from the crowd.
See, Wharton feels like that was a sort of cave-in, and he's got some kind of advantage.
Wharton looking for any advantage at this point.
If he could just muster a prolonged attack, he might be back in this fight.
If Wharton ever gets what he wants, it will be deafening in here. Halfway through the 11th. Benn. Wharton sneaks a look over at his corner, but they can't help.
Wharton's doing much better. He's fighting with everything he's got. It's do or die here. They've told Wharton, you can't win this, go out and try. We need a knockdown.
A mouthpiece is out. Again, it's Wharton. That's the third time in the fight. And Wharton talking to the crowd. He says, I'm okay. And they chant Henry. It's like a Hollywood script.
Well, Henry knows he needs these last 2 rounds. If it's even going to be close, he needs these 2. He's winning this one because he's just fighting more. He needs something big. He needs a knockdown. He needs a big punch. He needs something.
And again, holding and hitting by Wharton. Tony Perez has to break it. Henry Wharton looking for the knockout. But the elusive Nigel Benn will not provide the target.
And that's the wrong punch. You can't hit a guy going down on a punch like that that's crouching over. You're not going to hit anything that hurts. He's got to be bringing it up, and he's not. I don't think he's thrown a good uppercut this entire fight.
And a good right hand by Nigel Benn. A stinging shot. But Wharton trying to come back. And the crescendo builds as the bell sounds. Many of these fans who've come from York to cheer on their hero, Henry Wharton, hoping for the knockout in round 12, which seems to be the only avenue for the challenger.
The unmarked face of Nigel Benn. You don't see any marks on him, and for a man that's been hit as many times as he has, that's remarkable.
Henry Wharton not accustomed to going this deep into a fight.
Well, they're making a mistake of all corners. Everybody's talking at the same time. Everybody's talking at the same time.
And now the referee gets into the act. We've seen how chaotic that can be. More confusing than anything. Here we go. They'll touch gloves for round 12. You can see the appreciation on the face of Nigel Benn. But Benn goes right to it with the jab.
Well, Wharton has certainly fought a brave fight. He's fought his heart out.
Big right hand by Nigel Benn. Yes, a courageous effort nonetheless.
Maybe a year or 2 down the line when he gets a lot more experience, but look at this. This fight is not over. This is the 12th round. How many times have we seen it?
Henry Wharton looking to go to the head of Benn, but Benn doing a lot of movement.
And Benn fighting like he's got the fight in the bag and not needing this last round, which is always a mistake when you don't know how these scores are going. I think the only way Wharton could win or even draw would be with a knockdown, and even then it would be tight.
It's only the 4th time in the 12th round for Henry Wharton. 19 pro fights, 18-0-1. He's never lost, but facing his first world champion, Nigel Benn, who's been very classy. But Wharton to the head and to the body. Benn trying to duck away. Crowd going crazy.
Well, at this rate, he's going to take these last 2 rounds, and, you know, judges go by what they last saw, although they handed in their cards. I must tell you, he'd have to have something big to win this fight. Wharton, I'm speaking of.
Halfway through the final round for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. Furious exchange. Left hand by Benn. Wharton comes fighting right back though, but missing.
He's been doing all of the fighting. Benn is resigned himself to just letting this round go by unless he comes up with something powerful.
What a finish.
Wharton finishing big, hoping that will carry weight with the judges. We shall soon see.
A bumping right to the head by Benn. Benn looking for the uppercut. Look at Nigel Benn, who doesn't need to do this. Frantic exchange.
A superb exchange by both men, and you're right, he didn't need to do it. Wharton needed that, and Wharton got it, but he didn't make it pay.
Now Wharton pressing Benn against the ropes. Benn comes forward.
Wharton has left a good impression in all of these fans that came here and the millions that watch it on TV, because he is trying as hard as any fighter has any right to try.
A gutsy effort by Henry Wharton as we head for the bell.
Well, if that one is an upset, I will be surprised, more so than the last time. I have that 106 to 104 for Nigel Benn, and 116 to 114.
Yeah, that was too close.
Yeah.
But I agree.
116 to 114, and give the kid credit. Give Wharton credit. Boy, did he come on those last 2 rounds. He fought his heart out.
Well, big factor, Benn getting knocked down by Wharton at 2:55 of the 5th round, a 10-8 round. And now Nigel Benn saluting Henry Wharton by holding up his right hand to the crowd.
Let's take a look at this furious action that Benn invited. I mean, he actually said, come on in. And here's where he gets his innings, and both men went at it. This was to the advantage of Wharton. If he was ever to knock him out, this was the time. But he didn't. And neither did Nigel Benn knock down Wharton. A furious exchange of the kind of action that makes you feel this is championship action. They're lifting Wharton up to the shoulders.
Great shot right here as both are hoisted to the shoulders and hugging. This is a beautiful shot. As we await the decision for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. We've seen what upset already tonight as Michael Nunn was surprised by Steve Little, who dethroned Nunn for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. But it certainly appears again from this vantage point that Nigel Benn is in the driver's seat.
We'll soon see. We will soon know.
You never know how the judges can get swayed by the crowd. One judge from South Wales, one from London, the other from San Francisco.
Well, that's pretty broad, and I think the fighting that Benn did was really powerful at the beginning. So let's see what the decision says.
We're keeping, again, a close watch on Jimmy Lennon Jr. in the center of the ring. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. I will read the score totals. Judge at ringside, Sid Nathan scores about 116-114. Rudy Ortega scores about 117-112. Adrian Morgan scores about 116-113. All three in favor of the winner, and still champion, the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn.
So, unanimous decision. Nigel Benn, very much in keeping with the Ferdy's fight card.
Exactly on one, 116, 114. I couldn't argue with any of the three. I thought 117, 112, a little excessive because Wharton did make that determined run at the end. And but what can you say? A young kid with 18 fights gives a seasoned champion a fight like that? Well, you can't ask for more.
No argument. So there you have it. Here at the Earl's Court in London, England, they salute. And we'll return from ringside in a short while, but for now, let's throw it back to Bruce Beck in our New York studios.
The 41st All-British World title fight in Bobby Ches, a dandy.
Oh, we thought it was going to be a barn burner. Both guys coming out fighting, letting the leather go early. Wharton waited a little while. I'm sure he was worried about the 12-round distance with the likes of a Nigel Benn. Certainly the best fighter he's ever fought. A little tentative early, and it cost him, certainly by decision.
So the busyness of Benn early on paid off.
I think it was the busyness that paid off and his overall ring generalship. The moves just totally frustrated Wharton. He couldn't get off, even when he was standing right in front of him. He wouldn't hit him as long as Benn moved, so he would move and then punch Wharton.
Give Wharton a lot of credit. Terrific chin, came back strong, and really rallied around the crowd.
I'll tell you what, he's got no quit in him. There's no dog in him whatsoever. He comes to fight. He'll be a serious contender the whole time he continues boxing with that kind of chin and great condition. He finished off 11-12, winning both rounds, forcing the fight to Nigel Benn, getting Benn a little tired.
You know, I thought Benn's defense underrated considerably because he did some real nice moving.
He did do some nice moving, and, you know, it's something that most punchers, they don't pay attention to. They just pay attention to the offensive bombs.
Well, we had a big upset earlier tonight, and it came in our WBA Super Middleweight Championship. It all started in the first round when Steve Little knocked down Michael Nunn.
This could have been the biggest point of the entire fight. If Nunn would have won this round, the very first round, as opposed to getting knocked down and losing it by 2 points, it's a 3-point swing in the scoring. This cost him his world title.
So Steve Little wins the split decision and annexes the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. And, you know, maybe Michael Nunn's obsession with James Toney and the concept of having to unify the title, maybe it cost him here.
He seemed preoccupied. It wasn't the Michael Nunn I know he can be.
Michael Nunn was not sharp from the very beginning, and he found himself in a game of catch-up.
I wonder if the knockdown hurt him enough that it really disoriented him for a few rounds, because he lost the first 3 before he got on track, looked as if he was going to take the rest of the fight and skate. But again, we saw Little, he sucked it up, he brought the fight to him, closed the gap, forced the fight, forced the action, threw more punches, scored heavily on the inside, and went on for the big upset.
You know, I thought what Steve Little said to Ferdy was rather interesting. He said, "I never expected to give me that opening."
Well, Michael Nunn's a fighter, a formidable opponent, a very difficult fighter to hit clean twice, and he hit him with a good shot, then followed up with another left hook. And again, Nunn's hard to hit like that. He didn't expect to get in that easily. He expected to have to work for it. He got a gift.
The bottom line is there's hope for any fighter out there. Here's a guy who had lost 13 fights, and he comes out of England with a world title.
We've talked about it many times. Sometimes world champions overlook fighters who have lesser records and are considered lesser caliber. And even a guy like Frankie Randall, who's only had 2 losses, was never considered to be at the Chavez level. And look what happened.
Now, what about the fact that Angelo Dundee was not in the corner of Nunn? Could that have been a factor?
I certainly think it could have been a factor, Bruce. You know, you get used to a certain thing. I know if Tommy Parks weren't in my corner, I would have certain trepidations going through my mind about different strategies, different things, what he was telling me. Is it, with the guy I have, is he as accurate as my man would be? Tommy's my guy, and Angelo's his guy. It could have hurt him.
What about the fact that Steve Little had sparred with Nunn for 4 weeks prior to one of Nunn's title defenses?
This is something that fighters have done over the years. Fight their sparring partners down the road. Jesse Ferguson and Ray Mercer, same thing. And Ferguson knew certain things about Ray, that he was lazy about this and lazy about that. And sure, okay, when he was in shape, he beat me up in sparring a little bit, but I know he'll take me a little lightly. And maybe, just maybe, Michael Nunn did the same.
The smartest thing for Little to do at this point is to probably take on a couple of lesser opponents rather than thinking about unifying the crown. He might as well try to enjoy this for a while.
I don't think he'll try and unify anything. I think he'll try and unify the bank account, capitalize on what he did, cash it in, because it's very difficult to maintain at that level, especially in that division.
So Steve Little, who once before had a chance for a world title, the WBO against John Jackson, comes back and upsets Michael Nunn. I'd call this a real shocker. He was 15 or 17 to 1 underdog.
Happens a lot on Showtime.
Yes, it does. And Nigel Benn, on the other hand, was very strong in coming up with the victory over Henry Wharton. And I thought that Nigel Benn might have had a couple of moments where he was a little bit concerned, but otherwise, this was a dominant performance.
Well, he did the slick things. He showed the ring generalship. He showed the experience. He is a better fighter. But the kid Wharton, if he learns some things on the inside about boxing and moving, uppercuts, he didn't throw many uppercuts. He didn't go to the body early at all. And he was effective late. And the kid had some really good shots that were missing. If he gets them on target, maybe a different fight. Can't tell.
Benn landed several solid shots and knocked out the mouthpiece on 3 different occasions. Although he didn't get a knockdown in this fight, there were plenty of knockouts of the mouthpieces, Bobby.
Well, yeah.